we present a nice alternative, I think, for London to come over and do business with us. We are a very, very attractive business environment, both tax wise and quality of life wise. And so I don't know that it's I don't know how you are viewing Brexit at this point after 7 years, but I think for us it probably has created some additional opportunities.
And do you know? The UK likes to talk about the special relationship, and it's every time we come over to the US to visit, it's a really big part of the politics surrounding that visit is the special relationship. But what is the view of the UK from your side?
Well, look, I mostly can tell you what the view of the UK is in Jacksonville. And I think the partnerships that we've been able to build here really does make it a special relationship. You know, we have FIS that acquired WorldPay. That is the largest fintech company out there. We have PaySafe that is now in Jacksonville. I think we've just developed a really strong relationship, and we see the UK as a very strong trading partner.
Yeah, and I suppose, obviously, after leaving the European Union, do you think that Brexit presents a greater opportunity? Has that been a catalyst, if you like, for some of what you're now here to try and work on?
Well, I certainly think it doesn't hurt us, right? I think we present a nice alternative, I think, for London to come over and do business with us. We are a very, very attractive business environment, both tax wise and quality of life wise. And so I don't know that it's I don't know how you are viewing Brexit at this point after 7 years, but I think for us it probably has created some additional opportunities.
And do you get a receptive response from UK ministers to what you're kind of selling, I suppose? You know, what's their perception of your suggestion?
Well, this is my first trip over. So yeah. I am brand new in office, but I can tell you from what I've been told from previous administrations and the folks who have come here from our economic development, our chamber and others, it's been a wonderful relationship and very, very well received.
And there's no concerns from your side about, I suppose, what we've been talking about here in the last week is the Prime Minister's decision to postpone some of those key net zero targets. You know, some of those, the business reaction to that has been fairly strong in the UK. I mean, do you have concerns about those kinds of policies?
Well, sure. We deal with that. We deal with that in Florida. We deal with that in the U.S. as well. There's always strong disagreement over in the business community just how much focus there should be there. But as far as just our relationship with London, I think that it's a strong relationship, and I look forward to continuing to build it while we're here.
Now, finally, off the wall question. We're having a bit of a debate here about which
no, Adam.
Who is messier, men or women? People taking different positions. What do you reckon? As a generality, are men or women messier? You know.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to say men are messier. You know, I mean that has to be my answer, doesn't it, Kate?
I am 100% with you, but I have to say the reaction from some of our listeners, someone here saying, I have to agree with Adam. My daughter is still untidy, better than when at home. I also have friends with children, and their house is unbelievably untidy. Talking about how messy women are.
Oh, we're talking about messy as in messy, not like messy as in complicated.
No,
we should have been specific. We're talking about in the context of whether men do enough of the heavy lifting around the home, domestic chores.
I can tell you that in my house, my husband is definitely the least messy of the two of us. That's for sure.
Another point for me. Another one. My mum is very messy, but I'm giving her a visit. I'm visiting her for Sunday lunch. I won't dwell on it. You are a Democrat, but presumably this means you have to work with Mr. DeSantis, the very outspoken Republican governor of the state. What are your relations like with him?
They're good. You know, I used to work with his wife. I was in news for about 30 years, and I worked with his wife briefly. And look, you know, whenever there is politics involved, there always has to be a little give and take. And I think that when I ran for office, I was elected back in May and took office July 1st. I ran on a platform of collaboration that we are a state that is really, truly, and especially Jacksonville. We're extraordinarily diverse, but we're almost evenly divided, Democrats to Republicans. So we have to be able to work together. And I think that I've been pretty effective at that so far. And hopefully we'll be able to continue to build that relationship. It's, politics aside, and when you get into the presidential election, obviously there's a lot of political theater that goes on. But when it comes down to it, we all want the state of Florida and Jacksonville specifically to be successul.
I mean, presumably you wouldn't vote for Ron DeSantis, but would you prefer him to be the Republican candidate to Donald Trump?
Oh gosh, I don't even know if I want to go there. I would prefer Joe Biden in that role, obviously, but I think that I don't know. That's a tough question between the two. I think that Governor DeSantis is certainly extraordinarily popular, has been in the state of Florida, and so I think most Floridians, or many Floridians, would probably prefer him.
But you're sticking with Joe Biden. I mean, there are quite a lot of Democrats saying, unfortunately, a bit too old.
Well, I don't know that he's much older than the likely Republican nominee, right?
Trump,
a couple of years. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the policies that I think are incredibly important especially for us in Jacksonville. I think making sure that we are a resilient community with the fact that our oceans are rising, I think is incredibly important, and that's important to the president. And he's recently created an office of gun violence prevention, which I think is given every community in this country in the United States. We have a gun
we're
violence
going to be
problem.
talking about that in a moment, but you've had very much direct experience of mayor.
Absolutely
of gun violence.
have, and so there are things that especially socially that I think are very, very important. But either way, in Jacksonville, I think we are poised to be not only a growing city, but a city that is very, very attractive for folks to come from elsewhere, especially in London, to come and join us.
Now, I've got to ask you about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are popular here, what we would call American football team, what you'd call an NFL team. Why are they playing so much in London?
London's a lovely place. The Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, obviously has a big connection to London, and we love coming over here. It's a wonderful opportunity not only to come over and play a football game, but to have a chance to do some business while we're here.